I would like to show you this small little town in the middle of West Virginia that I grew up in, a place that I call home, Whitesville, West Virginia. Most of the businesses have closed in this small town. There's currently one gas station here, so they kind of do some price gouging because it's about an hour drive in either direction to civilization. There's still no cell phone service here, and people don't have much choice. You either shop at these shopping centers where a gallon of milk can cost $6 a gallon, or you drive an hour down the road. Back in the day, this town used to be booming with the coal mining industry. That was their way of life. That's how they survived. People came here to mine the coal. But like all good things, that endeavor came to an end with the modernization of machinery. You needed less manpower, more automation was involved. So as that went down, so did the price of hiring coal miners went down too. So they're getting paid less to do their job. And there are less jobs for them to do now. This is one of the houses I grew up in this town. My family moved around a lot. Didn't have a lot growing up. Seeing it now is crazy than seeing it back then, living here, you know. It's clearly condemned now. Most of the other places we lived in were destroyed, you know. Either they've caught fire because they were in such bad, poor conditions. They're just not there anymore. There are trailers that were moved away, or they were just condemned and just tore down. This is one of them that's still standing. There's maybe 2 or 3 more that are around. We moved around a lot, but this is one of the last spots I lived in Whitesville. I remember the first time I met my first black person was when I was maybe 13 or 14 in middle school. And he was cool. He was just one of the guys. Like, nobody treated him any differently based on what he looked like. Everyone is treated equally. You know, whether you're a man, woman, white, black, brown, blue, purple, nobody cares here. Whitesville is a very welcoming community for anyone who wants to come here. There were once a lot of businesses here. Back in the 40s and 50s, it was a cool little town. They had a bowling alley. There was a youth center. There was a lot of things for kids to do, but now there's not. So people were moving out. You either go into the coal mines, you go into the military, or you just stay on the teat of the system, maybe a welfare program or something, and you just try to survive. Rent is extremely cheap. Most of these apartment buildings are all tore down and vacant now too. There are differences between white privilege, as you would see it, and racism. Racism is an actual thing that exists in reality. White privilege is a blanket term you're giving to all white people. You're giving them a negative connotation. You're lumping them all together as being privileged, when that isn't necessarily the case. There could be a case of racism in Alabama. Maybe a cop pulls over a black person or a brown person, and it's unjust. Maybe the cop is racist, but let's seek that racist. Let's find that racist and make him pay for his crimes. Let's not attribute racism to the entire white race. I feel that the term white privilege is something newer that has just been invented because people who feel oppressed, people who feel victimized, want someone to blame. They want a scapegoat for their pain, so they're going to put that on the white man. And I have never, ever felt white privilege in my entire life. I've never walked into a bank and been thrusted to the front of the line and said, "Sir, here's your white privilege. Would you like your loan today?" I've never once skipped over a minority for a job, for a loan, for any type of reason. I've been pulled over by cops. I've been given tickets. I've been harassed myself. And cops, they have a job to do. They're not gonna pull you over and be the nicest individual. There's a difference in how you interact with those police and how you were taught to interact with those police. That is the main thing that's going to determine whether they're mean or nice to you in that interaction. Some people are taught that cops are terrible human beings, that they're going to pull you over, harass you just based on your skin color. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about you. They're just going to harass you based on what you look like. Growing up, I was taught when a police officer pulls you over, you put your hand on 10 and 2. You let the cop come up to your door. The cop presents himself. He could be aggressive. He could be mean. He could be pleasant. However the situation is, doesn't matter. He's going to present himself. He's going to ask for your license and registration. "Sir, may I reach in the glove box to get those materials for you?" Sir, treat him with respect. He is the authority in the situation. And I don't care what skin color you are. I don't care what gender you are. One of the many hundred genders there are. I don't care about any of that. If you treat that officer with respect, he's probably going to treat you with respect as well. Some people are raised differently though, and they are taught cops hate you, cops want to hurt you, cops want to shoot you and kill you. So when you get pulled over by a cop with that mindset, that terrible negative mindset, you may have an attitude with the officer. You may already hate that man or woman before they even come up to the door and say, "Hello, my name is Officer Bob." You may already hate that man because of what you've been taught as a child, what you've been conditioned to believe, that he hates you and wants to kill you. And I get it. With that type of conditioning, of course you're going to hate the officer. But if you don't treat him with respect and you're aggressive towards him, more than likely he's going to be aggressive towards you too. So that's when you would be asked to step out of the car, put your hands behind your back, yada, yada, yada. There used to be businesses in almost all of these buildings, but over time, they've just been deteriorating. I think you could lease these buildings for $1 per year with the promise to fix it up and put something in it. But they're leasing them out dirt cheap just to get businesses back to this small town. This right here used to be a youth nightclub. Not a night, yeah, it's like a youth nightclub. They didn't serve alcohol. They had pool tables in there. They were trying to rejuvenate the town, try to get young people to come here and just something for them to do, really. Now, don't get me wrong, I do believe racism exists and racism is a thing, but that is very different than white privilege. White privilege, you're putting that blanket term on every white person that exists. That's not fair. There are many people from small, podunk, poor towns just like this that didn't have a pot to piss in, and you're gonna say they have white privilege. There is a massive opioid problem here. Meth. Every other person has had some type of drug addiction here. And I just don't see how you could equate that with white privilege. I'm not sure what privilege they've had, or this town has had for that matter. The town is literally called Whitesville, and there's only one black person that lives in it. You figure this would be the most privileged place on the face of the universe, right? But no, it's not. And ask yourself why. Why isn't it the most privileged place in the universe if you think white privilege really exists? Now, I'm with you on racism, and if you ever see a racist, we must find them and handle them accordingly. Racism is a thing that needs to be wiped off the face of this planet. But we can't label any groups racist. We can't say all white people are privileged. That only wedges the gap between white people and minorities. That right there is the only stoplight in Whitesville, and it doesn't even work. There used to be 3 functioning ones. There's one of the grocery stores we have in town. There used to be a Food Lion and other type of stuff like that. This building right here was leased by my sister's in-laws, and they used to have a thrift store here. They used to bring wrestlers here. There was a wrestling ring in this place, and they would actually bring wrestlers here. It was part of their circuit. They would come here and just try to bring business, bring some type of life to the town. The Road Warriors and Doink the Clown were actually here. As the great Martin Luther King once said, judge a man by the content of his character, not the color of his skin. And whether that man is white, black, brown, whatever the case may be, you should never, ever judge him on what he looks like, what he talks like. You should judge him by his actions. You should judge him by what he stands for. You should judge him by the person he is. When you cast those stones, you're only asking for them back. This is Coal River. It flows towards Charleston. Alongside this river runs the road, aka Coal River Road, aka Route 3. Growing up on this one road, you're either going down the river or up the river. If someone needed a ride somewhere, they would be like, and you were leaving, they would be like, where are you going? Up a river. Or you'd be going down the river. There's no names of roads, but it's a simple town, a simple concept, a simple life. When I moved out of here, it blew my mind. Getting on my first 4-lane highway, I didn't know what to do. I was like, what are all these roads? It was insane to me. It was another world. But at no moment in time living in Whitesville did I feel privileged based on my skin color. At no moment in time did anyone give me any type of privilege based on my skin color. I was a poor kid. I was just a poor kid growing up in Whitesville, West Virginia. I didn't feel privileged whatsoever. There were 2 black kids going to my school, and they were way better off than I was. They had a nicer home than me. They looked like they were doing pretty well in school, way more than me. So I don't think anyone's putting them down. Nobody was calling them names. Nobody was being discriminatory. They were judged based on the content of their character, and they were cool dudes, so no one really had a problem with them. Small towns get a bad rep because, oh, there ain't no minorities there. There's no black people there. There's no brown people there. Well, they could come here if they wanted to. They wouldn't have any issues. They could go to the grocery store and buy groceries. They could go to the gas station and get gas. No one would stop them. Nobody would say, hey, not allowed in here, not in my part of town. No. That is some myth. That is some magical creature the left wants to bring up to just try to scare minorities, to try to, we're gonna keep you on our side so you can keep voting blue. It's not reality. It's fiction. It's a story. It's what you're told to be scared of small towns like this, to be scared of country folk. They want to group everyone together. They want to put the white people here, the brown people here, the black people here, the Asian people here. They don't want us to unite. Because once we're united, we are at our most powerful. We, the people, can speak the loudest once we are all as one. Whitesville is a very patriotic town. They love their country, they love their God, and they love Donald Trump. One of the only ways out of this town is through the military, or you could join the coal mines and be part of the community. The coal mines are very rough. It's a very strenuous job. I've lost a lot of friends and family to the coal mines. I took the military route. I got out of the state, I joined the military, traveled around. I didn't want to be here. At first I rejected West Virginia. I hated West Virginia. I didn't want to be part of the culture. I've never been hunting once. I've never killed an animal. I've never done that. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I've ate plenty of deer jerky or deer meat. And looking back on it, I wouldn't change a thing. I love where I'm from. I love this small town. I love being part of this community. I hope to one day return, maybe when I'm done with my adventures in the other states, and retire here in this beautiful state. The mountains are beautiful. The sky is beautiful. You can actually see the stars. I love it here now. I love the town. I love the people in it. My final thoughts would be respect other areas of life, whether you're from the country, whether you're from the city. Respect those individual areas and their beliefs, because not everybody is going to believe the same way you believe. So be kind to everyone and respect everyone. If you enjoy this video, if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe.